Darren, it was a draw on opening day against Kidderminster. What are your reflections now?
I thought we can certainly play better. We can certainly have a greater harmony throughout the team, and we'll certainly have to improve our performance tomorrow to try and win the game tomorrow. And I thought it was a bad game. I thought it was a poor game, very low on quality. But I thought we improved second half. I definitely thought we improved second half, and that's that's sometimes can be a huge positive when the subs improve the game, because that shows that you've got that benefit of options and choices, substitutes, and I think that's that's going to be really important especially in these early months where I know you have a pre-season, but you're never really fit. I mean, it can take anyone between sort of 4 to 8 games to really feel that match fitness. And I think we're, whilst we're getting through that with certain individuals in particular, I think the games that come up we're going to need to select intelligently rather than emotionally or off what we think people think or know. Then we're going to have to be quite clever with that.
And you alluded to it there, the performances off the bench and perhaps Sakinola, Wilmot and Nanaboa saying they really caught the eye. How important is depth going to be this season?
Yeah, huge, because even this week in training we've had injury and illness again, and those individuals or the substitutes from the previous game then sometimes have a huge opportunity to start the next game. And when you think about it, if you are a substitute, you think about it in professional sport, if you are a substitute, you only get closer by coming on or impacting the game from whatever time you're given, whether you're given a minute or 80 minutes, if someone's gone down injured. You have to get closer to that starting 11 by contributing from a position of support. And I thought they were great. I thought Wilmot's quality from set plays in difficult conditions was really, really important. Really important. He just had that composure. I like the way Robbie almost makes people. He forces players to give him the ball, even if it's over a yard. He kind of takes it from them. I'll take the ball from you. Just let me take the ball. And then he has really good technical quality. So I thought that was good. And Akinola and Boateng have that youthful enthusiasm, almost that ambition when they play. And that's going to be important for us this year. It's going to be. We saw that last year in abundance with Dan Moss, was kind of the youngest player, and we're going to have to see that again with the likes of Boateng and Akinola and the others that end up coming in. So it was pleasing, and I said it. I made sure I reiterated that to the players Saturday after the game, that I thought that the substitutes were excellent.
And next up is Altrincham, our first game at home this season. We drew and lost against them last season. What did you make of them against Dagenham last week, and what can we expect come Saturday?
Yeah, good side, very good side. It can cause you some difficulties with the way they play. They've got a nice thing going at Altrincham. You look at the club and it improves every year you go there. It improves. You look at the work away, the business away from the football pitch. That is always improving, and the pitch improves. And Phil does a brilliant job, especially in player development, because a lot of players, start with Altrincham and then Altrincham receive remuneration for their work, for their development. And I think he does a brilliant job at that. You can't deny that. When they become that kind of selling club, or a club that produces players and uses the rewards to then go back into the business. And Phil has to rebuild pretty much every season. So he does a good job with his recruitment. And they're very well coached. I think they're like every game. I think they're all so tough. And the biggest thing for me this season for our football club is to. We have to retain a humility to who we are and what we are. or sorry, not what we are, where we are right now. And we have to be respectful enough, not overly respectful, but we have to be respectful enough that all our opponents are going to be very, very competitive, and are going to give us, going to cause us problems, and we're going to have to find solutions. So I think when it comes to that, and like you said, they took 5 points from us last year, it'll be a very, very difficult game.
And we had 420 supporters at Kidderminster last week, incredible showing. How important is it we start the season right at home with good backing this weekend?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's really important that the team is right and in harmony, because I think that spreads throughout the ground. And we definitely have to set that off tomorrow. We absolutely understand that we need to trigger our supporters. Our supporters are, it's one of the greatest achievements in football in my career, the way the supporters and the players are. It's one of my proudest things that I've managed to hopefully orchestrate or bring together, because they're so important. Even last week, magnificent last week, absolutely magnificent at the end, or during the game, and even at the end when we had a good last 10 minutes and we had that kind of 2 or 3 chances, and when they lifted, you can feel that building. And it's going to be harder this year at home. It's going to be even harder than it was all the last year at home, because of the respect that we'll be given based on our past, and we're going to need to make Lathway Community Stadium. We have to make it very, very intimidating. We have to make it very difficult for people to settle in. It's got to be really comfortable for us, but very uncomfortable for our opponents. And so they play a huge role in that. A really, really big role in that, and we need to make sure all of that energy and enthusiasm is pushed back onto the players, and that propels us and that energises us, fuels our energy, and ensures we can play the strategy that we'd like to play.
And finally, how's the squad looking?
A little bit bare still. We've had a few back. I wouldn't have thought there'd be too much differentiation from last week's availability. We need to now start to consider certain individuals that might be able to contribute tomorrow but might not be able to contribute Tuesday. So we need to manage that. And like I said, we need to be intelligent in this opening phase. We need to be really intelligent, and make take some calculated risks with players and what they can and can't do. But I think Habergan may be available based on half an hour's training or something silly like that, and Denon Lewis may or may not be available. We're still waiting for the reaction from him. Apart from that, I think everyone else is pretty good. Josh Casey's had a problem this week, so that'll be touch and go. But I think we're pretty similar. The more likelihood is that we'd see Oyeleki maybe a week tomorrow. If Habergan's not good for tomorrow, he'll be definitely good for Tuesday. And we're progressing with Wilkinson, so it's they'll start to come back. But as they start to come back, the double headers now will start to mean that we lose players during those Saturday, Tuesday contests, and it'll mean that one will be back and someone else will be out, and that squad that everyone keeps telling me is full of depth is still at 16. And we still haven't got everyone to choose from, but we'll get there. It's a long season, so we'll get there.
Darren, thank you for your time. Best of luck.
Top man.